So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, and it is the Demetra K Show, the podcast to be exact, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. Because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. Also, like to say a big giant thank you to Donovan. Of course, I should say that we are not live. This is recorded. However, we do pop into the comment section every once in a while as it is live. So we're watching to kind of see what you guys are saying. We today are going to talk about, I guess, relationship things, which on Tuesday it seems like we kind of talk about relationships more or less. And so we're going to talk about something Charleston White said, something that I saw on TikTok in regards to how a mother was instructing her how to treat her husband. And then we might get to this one video. To me, he's kind of like a Kevin Samuels knockoff where he was talking about leftover women. And then, of course, we'll try to play our little card game. So, Donovan, what say you before we get started?
All right. Hey, welcome you guys to the Demetra K podcast. It's great to see you. Again, Happy New Year to all the guys out there. Those Southern California, the big storm is out there, so be very, very careful. Unfortunately, when it rains in Southern California, you've got some people that drive as if it's not raining. So we're getting ready for a lot of fatalities and mudslides and all that other good stuff. But do us a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, because this is where you go if you want to talk and debate about certain things, and also become a member. If you do that, sometimes when Demetra drops a gem of a video with the African Diaspora News Channel and all the other platforms that she's on, you'll get the information first and take it from there. And if you guys so be it, it does take some time to put a podcast and a video cast together. Time is money. So if you if you have it within your heart and want to help support the channel, we've got the places you can go: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. Do you got your P.O. box where they can send you a cash and checks and cash like that? But we thank you guys, all those guys that subscribe and participate in the show. Appreciate you guys.
All right, now, so without further ado, let's get to it. So this is the first one is that of Charleston White. He's on, oh gosh, forgive me, the brother's name. Oh, Antoine Daniels. Antoine Daniels, I think his name is. He appears on there quite a bit, dropping knowledge. I should say off the top, yes, I know that to some people, Charleston White is very problematic in that some people have called him a troll. But, whether we like him or not, he does drop some pretty insightful things. So I want to see what you guys think. Definitely, I want to get Donovan's opinion on this. So here we go.
Destroy the black man, you remove the black woman. You can have a father all day long, but if you don't watch your father how he treats your mother, you never know how to pick the right woman to be your woman.
Yep.
Your father show you how to go get that woman home, and based on your mother's actions and inactions and responses to him, you find the qualities and the traits that you would like, that would appeal to you, right? So your mother traits would jump out to you in women when you date them.
Yeah.
Well, we never seen no one really love our mothers. So I don't know about no woman. So it's easy to say ain't but hoes and tricks. I never seen a man come out my mother's bedroom, but she had boyfriends. She protected her. She protected her image as a mother. She guarded that mother. I ain't never heard my mama having sex. You see what I'm saying? We was given this propaganda of this black male masculinity since the black exploitation era. So that's before you and I got here. I was born in 1977.
I was born in 82.
Yeah, so that's black exploitation was here in the early 70s. That was our culture. Many single women probably had to sell their bodies to some sort of degree to help put food on the table because of our culture.
Donovan.
Interesting. Now, that's his experience. I can't say his experience speaks for all of the men out there, but my mother was a widow, and I agree. I never saw my mom date any aspect. I remember when she married my stepfather. That was a shock because we didn't know, what was that. And I agree. Back then, women protected their image in the community and their standing in the community. And unlike today, where you have, this is just me. There's something wrong when you talk to a kid and say, "Oh, well, I can't go to my grandmother's because her boyfriend and her are going out." It's just a different aspect to where we're at today. So there's some things. Times must and always will change. Sometimes they change for the good, and unfortunately, a lot of our situation has changed for the worst.
Oh, well, that was quick. All right, so just kind of want to reiterate what he said. He says, basically, and I should also say that he went on to say, talk about that Snoop Dogg's music and music that was like it, and that it taught men. This is his opinion. Taught men basically how to treat women, basically disregard women. He also made the analogy of when guys would get together and they were with girls or wanted to be with a girl. Sometimes they wanted to see if they could, in his words, run a train on the girl. And he says the girl that would not allow them to do that to her would be like the prize. That's the one I want to be with. The one that was like, nah, I don't want to do that. He also went on to say how with the music and obviously with the blaxploitation era, that men often regard women as hoes and tricks. The dog pound them, B's ain't nothing but H's, and all that, and that it's considered. Men have been taught that it's considered a square to be a square if you settle down with just one woman. And Antoine there, he was saying, well, I'm married. I've been with my wife for a while. And he was also talking about how he was somewhere not too long ago and the fellas wanted to go to the strip club. And he was like, nah, I'm going to the hotel with my woman, And he says there was some clowning going on, like, oh, man, kind of like the square type of thing. But Charleston White says, yeah, but that's the ideology that's been taught to a lot of men to not settle down. And also, he says, but common sense will tell you that if you got one woman you dealing with, you got all you can have, right on, on the one roof. You ain't got to go out there and hunt for it, search for it, no kind of stuff like that. But he says also a lot of these men don't understand all these demons and ties and all these other things that you collect when you're just, sleeping around with a bunch of women. But to address some of the things that we heard him say, he says, fathers that are shown how to, let me see, I wrote it down. I hate when I can't read my writing. So basically what he was saying is the mother's traits will jump out in other women. So basically how they saw their mom when they were coming up, they will see those traits. And I'm assuming those traits are either good or bad, right? Men typically, and I totally agree with that. A lot of men, especially that I've come encounter with, I could tell the type of relationship they have with their mom, the way they treat women, And then he also said that basically the mom, his mom or a mother in good standing, I guess, will protect her image in the eyes of her children. And he went on to say that you're not going to see, he didn't see his mom having dudes coming in out of the bedroom. He knew she had boyfriends, but he never heard her having sexual relationships with them or anything like that. And so I guess maybe he was trying to say, because I didn't see the whole clip, is that fathers maybe are not as present as they should be because of what they see through their moms, how they maybe are raised through their moms, the expectations they get from their moms. And so again, the video said destroying Black fathers through our mothers. So,
well, I didn't, like I said, we didn't see the whole video clip, but I'm sorry. Now I can only speak for myself. I was raised in a environment that was more responsive to what we're doing. I was raised as a military kid, and those of us that were raised in a military environment knows that we didn't have any rights. We weren't individuals. What we did as children affected our parents, right? So when I hear, coming to the States, coming back to the United States, and I hear these guys talk about, oh, well, this, that, and men are this, and women are this, and blah, 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 right? So it sounds like to me what he's saying is the streets is raising them. The streets is raising them. That's what it sounds like to me. We have a society of a bunch of followers. We just go into the streets, and the streets is going to raise us, and whatever. I'm very sure his mother or father, whoever, aunt, somebody gave him the blueprint of how to conduct himself in a society. Did he choose to rebel against that? I mean, come on, let's be real about this. We were in high school. We knew that, let's say, running a train on a girl, that was wrong. We knew that. That had nothing to do with manhood whatsoever. That had to do with clown mentality. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah, you do look for traits of your mother within your mate. That is true, but you don't want your mother in a mate. Okay, that's one thing you don't want. You look for those traits. It's like I said, my mom. When I look for a woman, my mom was really good with financing and structure. My mom was really good with that and regiment. So I look for that. When I look for a woman, but outside of that, I look for the total opposite when it comes to my mom. My mom was a little skinny thing, whatever. So I look for the big, blossomed woman and all that other, the opposite when it comes to things like that. But I just think it's weird when these guys speak as if every black male out there is letting music influence us. When you let music and the media and movies and stuff like that influence you, you have a very weak mind. That's just in general. And if women are picking guys that let music influence them and they can't tell the difference between life and reality, no wonder where we're at today.
All right, what we're not going to do is lie to kick it. We know dang on well that the music is shaping the minds of a lot of people, men included. And he basically started off that segment talking about the black fathers are ruined because of, I guess, our mothers. They said destroying black fathers through our mothers. And I'm going to tell you this, y'all can get mad, but I tend to find that most men that hate their mamas hate women. Hate their women. I always see that. And a lot of them say, oh, no, it's not the truth, but it is the truth. Whenever I hear a man talk about his mom and he don't talk about her in a good way, she this, she that, she this, she that, he typically does not like women in general, even though he says, oh, I love women. Oh, I just love women. His actions say differently. Right? I mean, I've always noticed that with men. If they had a problem with their mama, they always, I won't say always, but more than likely had a problem in relationships. And I dare any of y'all to think just for a moment. Even men, think about women who have daddy issues. Think about the women you dated with daddy issues and say, did she have a bad relationship with dad, or did she talk disparagingly about her dad? All right, then how did she act in those relationships? You're probably going to find a direct correlation between her relationship with her father and her relationship with other men. And so I agree with him. I agree that how the mom raises the children is also probably how the daughter will behave toward men and how men will behave toward women, because he is going to use her as the litmus test of women, because the mama is the first teacher. As my dad always says, the children drink from the mother. So they're a sponge in that they absorb all the things that the mom does, whether it's good or bad. Some men will say, all right, I don't want a woman like my mom. I'm going to get a woman that's different than my mom. Some men will get maybe a woman like their mom, but I tend to find either way, they tend to have these ideas of women based on the type of mom they had. If they had a mom that was neglectful, put men above them and this, that, and the other, then they typically are, they're just not going to like women very much, even though they're always in relationships or they talk great about women. I was always taught match up a person's actions against their words, right? Because we could say all we want to say, but then how does that person act? So I agree with them. And one more thing you said, as far as what'd you say? As far as I forgot women, something about women, the women that were having a train ran on them. I forget. It'll come to me. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying with women that having a train run on them, I was saying that doesn't equate to manhood. Everybody knows that's wrong to do. That's a wrong thing to do unless you're in some kind of swinger lifestyle or whatever you're doing. We know we know right from wrong, and we wouldn't want that done on our mama. Whatever the deal is. But again, like I said, I can only speak for myself. I have to disagree with you in regards that a man that does it hates his mama, and a girl that does this hates her daddy. So because I'm gonna disagree with you, because what you're saying is when you hear women disparage men nowadays, which is the norm, so all of these women hate their fathers. I don't think so. So I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
That's not what I said. I said when you hear a woman that talks disparagingly about her father or has a bad relationship with her father, she probably has a bad relationship with men. So I didn't say all.
Right. Well, we're not an absolute thing. So I agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is when you hear women, which is the norm, badmouth men nowadays, I could easily say, oh, well, she hates her daddy. Like with my mom and women that I know, I give them their flowers and I give them when they're wrong. We are in a society where you can't criticize women no matter what they do. But the minute a man criticizes a woman or a let's say his mom or aunt or some female person, oh, he hate his mama. Oh, he don't like women. He don't do this. And that's the norm where we're at today, which we know is not true. I mean, criticism is criticism, no matter how you look at it, no matter who it's being criticized at. Nobody's perfect, but in today's society in 2023, it is normal to disparage men, and that's okay. But the minute men starts criticizing women in the same way women are criticizing men, oh, how dare we speak bad against Black women? Oh, you hate your mama. Oh, you don't like women. And there's a double standard. I know you probably won't agree with it, but there is a double standard. So
See, we was gonna be all good until you said that. You talking about you can't criticize a woman. That is true in a lot of cases, but don't sit up here and act like you can't criticize a man. What the hell you think the manosphere come from or passport bros come from? Right?
Men are always criticized. Men are always criticized.
But so are women. So are women. The crux of the passport brothers and the manosphere is because you getting away from Black women over here in America. So don't sit up here and talk about y'all sitting up here with halos and y'all not talking greasy about Black women. Black women talk greasy about Black men and Black men talk greasy about Black women. And to say that that's not the case, that is a lie. And I think when we start dealing in falsehoods that, oh, men are just running around here and we're just...
Wait a minute.
Wait. I'll let you finish.
Wait. But I got to stop you.
I'll let you finish,
No. I got to stop you on that. When did I say that was the case? I never said that.
Because
you keep putting words in my mouth.
No, I'm not. And this is the thing, Donovan, what we going to start doing on here is we going to start rewinding this stuff because that is your go-to when you don't want to own the stuff. Is that you didn't say that and you did. I wrote it down. You said it's all you can't criticize a woman, but it's all right to criticize a man. That's what you said.
Yes, I said that, and right. Exactly that's what goes on today.
Right, but what
I
I'm
use
saying,
the correlation.
Wait, brother, because they can't hear us when we overtalk each other. Okay, we gonna own the stuff we say. When I say we, I mean me and you. Say it's all you can't criticize a woman. But it's all right. It's kind of like the norm to criticize a man. And I'm saying that it goes on both sides. Ain't nobody running around here more morally decent than the other side. In that there's these divestors and then there's the manosphere. And their main complaint is criticizing a Black man or a Black woman. So the point that I'm making is that it is done on both sides of the fence. But the issue here is, as he is saying, and I agree with him, yes, mothers do shape how, I guess the father will be in destroying Black fathers to some degree. Now, I say some degree because my thing is, if you know you came from a ratchet mama, a horrible mama, you know that she was a horrible person. You don't have to operate in what she taught you. And that that's not a good excuse to be a piss poor or an absentee father. He also went on to say back in the 70s or whenever, and still even to this day, that women felt compelled to sell their bodies to take care of the children. Now, would they be able or have to do that if they had a man around? I'm not putting an indictment on the man per se, but what I'm saying is I totally agree. And I'm saying in my experience that most men that I've talked to that have mama issues tend not to like women very much. They're just not cognizant of that because they run around lying to themselves saying, oh, I love women. I have a problem with women, but I watch and I really pay attention to what people do and they say. And I tend to agree with them. They don't like women very much.
Okay, so where's the difference in what we're saying? It's done on both sides, but the thing is, it's more. But to me, in my opinion, it is more done on the female side. It's normal to disparage black men. That's the norm now.
Where is your litmus test? Where was your statistics to back that up? That is more on the women's side.
Well, what do you mean more on women? Black men ain't shit. I have yet to really hear where men in general are out there talking about black women ain't shit, whatever. It's been done for over 40 years. It's done in the media. Wait. It's done in the media. It's done in movies. You've got movies like The Color Purple. You've got, What's Love Got to Do with It? You got all these, the Tyler Perry movies where the man is just totally just shit, okay? That's been done for over 40 years. Show me a movie where women, other than being, women were being abused and stuff, but the point is, for 40-something years, that has been where we're at to where we're at today, from where we started to where we're at today. The father's not in the home. The black man is this. The black man is that. It's not an argument. I agree with you. I just don't agree with your aspect that a man hates his mama. That does not mean a man hates his mama. I just disagree with that.
Well, you said that you haven't seen it, but Donovan, you do it a lot on here as far as bring up black women. We could be talking about Kermit the Frog is making a pot of chicken, and a black woman will have it'll be her fault to some degree. However, I am saying that in my experience, that most men that I know that has had a bad relationship with their mama or has a bad relationship with their mama does not like women. And I mean, that's just from my experience, from my friends, and from people that I have dated. I've known that to be the case.
But wouldn't it be also? Why is it that he hates his mama? Why is it that he couldn't have been in several bad relationships with women?
Nah, bro, because I'm telling you, I've had conversations with a lot of men who have said their mom was a horrible this. She did that. She said this. She did that. And it pans out in the women that they date. And so, I'm not saying that it's all men, like I'm not saying it's all women.
Right.
But I tend to find that's the case. There is a direct correlation in how a child was raised by their parent. Just like they say, most women seek to date a man that is like their father, whether he was good or whether he was bad. She tends to seek that type of relationship out unless she is aware and that she's like, okay, my dad was a bad dude. I'm not going to probably date a guy like that. Or, I love my dad to death. I want a man like my dad. So I don't think that's a far-fetched correlation to draw.
Okay, so on both sides, men and women can both draw those correlations. Are we in agreement?
I said that from the rip.
No, I didn't say you didn't. I'm just making sure we're in agreement.
Well, we've always been in agreement of that, but I just think the problem is, Donovan, to keep it real. I get that you all manosphere and you go hard to pay for the men, which you should, but I think you keep trying to paint me into a feminist divester crowd, which I do not have any ownership of it either. And anybody who's watched this show long enough will know that I am on both sides. I am for the unity of black men and women. I never advocate for black women to go be with somebody other than their own man, the black man. I never advocate for the black man to go be with anybody else other than a black woman. That has always been my talking points. Now, I should also say this. Just because I say something about black men, that don't mean I hate black men. Even if I say something about black women, that don't mean I hate black women. And when I'm saying stuff about black men and black women, I'm including myself. I don't exclude myself from that, but I don't think that we benefit by being divisive by saying stuff like, oh, you can't criticize a black woman, but you can criticize black men because we know that that narrative is just simply not true. It's not, because if that was the case, where's your Kevin Samuels coming from? Where's the Manosphere? Where's Fresh and Fit? And all these other people running around talking about save yourself, black man. Go get you a woman that's not of your own. If there's the criticism the black woman does not exist, then you wouldn't have those platforms.
Okay, okay, first of all, you've known me long enough to know that if I felt that you were a feminist, I would tell you that. I would tell you that.
Yeah, but you said it a couple of times on here.
I said it a couple of times, but you know, if I really felt you were a feminist, I would just tell you you're a feminist. Now, some of the things that you say at certain times on certain topics is feminist.
Define feminism for me, if you will.
I don't know. What's the dictionary say about feminism?
Nah, bro. Nah, you can't call me something you don't know the definition.
I didn't call you. And see, that's what I'm saying. See, okay, wait. I'm gonna give you the real truth here. For some reason, some women, certain words trigger women. I don't know why you guys get. Wait. I don't know why you guys get triggered. We're having a conversation. You should not be getting triggered because I have an opinion on something that might be detrimental to where you're at. Now, the best way to come at it would be like, okay, hey, like you're always telling me come with facts for it. Like right now, you just asked me, where's my definition? I'm not going to give you a definition. What does the book say? I don't know what the definition is. All I know is what I like and what I don't like.
You know, it's funny because last week, my brother Walter, we do the show on Wednesday. He wanted to talk about feminism and how it's destroying, the world, basically, right? And so what I told him was this before we got on here. I said, be very careful of the things that you say, because I am going to call you out on them, because as my responsibility of being, this is my platform, is my responsibility. So I said, you sure you want to talk about feminism destroying the world? I said, I want you to come with your facts. Don't just say stuff you saw on the internet. And, he was careful of what he said. And then last week, I defined feminism, and I went all the way back through the historical context of the word feminism. I've also taken some feminist class. Women is actually women in socialism or something like that, and they talked about feminism a lot. In fact, my class spent a lot of the time trying to convert me over to feminism, and this class was comprised of men and women. And I said I vehemently reject the term feminism. So I say all that to say, we have gotten in a habit in this society, the world, of throwing terms around, and we don't even know what they mean. And so a feminist, as defined by a man came up with the word feminism in like 1847 or something like that, the term. And he said it was for the equality of women politically, economically, and everything else, right? Besides physically, we know men are, typically stronger than women, right? So he was just asking for equality for women. And so when I hear this term thrown around that you're feminism, well, if we're going by the true definition, then yeah, I guess that kind of applies. And I think most men will say, yeah, I think women should get equal pay as well. So then that would make them one too. But the problem that we have is we try to redefine things to make them horrible. Now I get a feminism like the Now movement, the suffrage movement, and even the Me Too, that's a movement. I get all that, and that it was very austere, and it was kind of like this I hate men type of thing. So I get that. But as far as to me, because when I hear you all in the manosphere call a woman masculine, or you say that she's feminist, or the other thing too is I can't be a feminist and masculine at the same time, as an oxymoron. But when I hear y'all say that, it's like the Scarlet Letter. It's like McCarthyism. I'm gonna brand you as a feminist because y'all simply can't answer the question or stand on your talking points. It's like, well, I'm gonna call you a feminist. But I will say this: no man that's ever been on this show, to my knowledge, it could be wrong, but I doubt it. I've never labeled them or called them any names because I'm able to argue effectively.
Correct. But I mean, wouldn't calling somebody a member of the manosphere be calling names?
Didn't you? Ain't that something you say you are?
No, I didn't say I'm part of the manosphere. I say I'm a man. I'm a man.
There's a 11 times you've been on this show talking about I'm riding, I'm standing up for the manosphere. I'll make a montage.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm doing that, whatever the deal is. But the point is, I'm a man. But here's my thing. Again, I come and was raised in a environment where the patriarchy is real. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. We can't sit up here and take where we come from. And like I said, I'm not liberal in the aspect of being liberal, but I'm to each his own. My thing is when people try to put their value on me, I have a problem with that. You know, I try to respect everybody with where they come from. If you come from this, whatever. I have nothing against gay people. I have a lot of gay friends. I'm not with the gay agenda. There's nothing wrong with that. You can't be mad at me for that. So what we have a problem in our community is, especially in the Black community, this is my opinion, is we think that everybody has the same experiences as we do. Hey, man, you know what it's like in the hood. No, I don't. I'm not from the hood. So do you see where my point is coming from? So if I deal with somebody who, let's say, was raised in an environment where the patriarchy was real, traditional values was real, I can't expect that person to be, not a traditional person and not for traditional roles. Now, am I for women doing equal pay? Absolutely. If they do equal work, then
you're a feminist.
Well, that's fine. You could call me that. If they do equal work. I always tell people, you can tell the difference about how men and women operate. Watch Survivor. When they have the all women versus the all men, who's usually freezing and cold and asking the men to help them versus whatever? What I'm saying is, my point is there's a significant difference in how we are built as people. Women have a role, men have a role. But in our community, again, we have a lot of people that want to go against those roles, or they gender group us all together, and we're not all the same. And that's one of the problems. Like I said, I respect your opinion. I have no problem with it. You could ride with that all day long. However, that opinion might not apply to me, is what I'm saying. So when you're talking about men, let's just say hypothetically, you talk about men that are abusive or do a certain thing, I might not agree with that. That's all I'm saying. We gotta stop generalizing our group as everybody has the same experiences, because we don't.
Well, I want to go on the record and say I ain't never said generalize our people. We know we are not a monolith. We know that we do different things, and I always say on here, the people that y'all see on the internet is not reflective of a lot of people in real life. I say all the time, I don't know any men or women that do some of the horrible, ratchet things that are being displayed on the internet. I don't hang out with people like that. And I always vehemently say, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's degrees to Ray Ray and Pookie, but I don't know people who are going out and doing men that are doing horrible things in the community. Most Black men I know, they're upstanding Black men, and they're decent individuals, just like the Black women. I don't hang around Black women who rooking dudes for money and getting flued out. I don't hang out with people like that. And so that's why I would say the internet is not real, because we take the little bit of things that we see off the internet and we try to apply that to real life. So I never try to generalize people or hold people off of things that I see. All right, so let's move on to the next one. I found this was very interesting on TikTok. So here we go.
You get the broom and sweep, because I'm washing dishes and my mom's drying them and putting them away.
Oh, no, Leti, ¿cómo crees?
Por si él puede ayudar, ¿cómo
No,
no? Pero mami, ahí nomás, él puede barrer aquí, mira, no es mucho.
No, eso es para mujeres.
Are you sure, Amma? I'll sweep.
No.
I don't mind.
No, no te preocupes, no te creas. Tú relax, ya.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to sweep.
Get the broom and help us out so we can be done sooner.
Huh?
So we can be done sooner.
Leti, ¿qué? Tú relax, ya.
She wants me to sweep, Amma, so we could be done sooner. No?
Aquí no.
Just relax?
Sí.
Relax?
Tú vas a ver televisión ahí con tu suegro.
Órale.
Órale.
Whatever you say, Amma.
Donovan.
What was wrong with that video? Do we have a problem video coming up? I thought we were going to see some problems and try to talk about that. That's the way it should be in that culture. In that culture. Okay, obviously that looked like a woman that was of Hispanic descent, Latin descent. In the culture of the Latin descent, machismo is everything. The men are, the women have no problem doing their traditional role of taking care of a man. And so I'm seeing the mom, saying, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done, And maybe that's how it was done in her day. Maybe now is a new day. But again, I didn't see anything wrong with that. And that's kind of the traditional aspect where I was raised. In Japan, it's almost the same exact thing. Women cater to the men. The men go out there and kill themselves working and providing. That's the environment that I came from. So I don't see anything wrong with that video.
I too do not see anything wrong with that video. I know some people will, and that's okay, but I don't see anything wrong with that video. I was also raised with that ideology of, my father worked, my mom stayed at home, and she took care of the home. She took care of the children. She cooked, she cleaned. I too did the same thing in relationships. I did not want my man cooking or cleaning or laundry or any of that kind of stuff, especially if he was at work, he came home. I thought that he should be able to put his feet up, and wait for me to bring him dinner and something to drink, and just relax, right? I felt that was, I'm going to say duty. I'm saying me. I'm not telling any other woman you don't want to do that. Please, this is not a one size fits all. And I will also say it's not for that type of lifestyle is not for everyone. It's just not. But I was raised that way. I was raised watching that in the dynamics of my home. And I too also I did the same thing in my relationships. I always consider it my pleasure to be able to be in that capacity for my man, where he comes home and he doesn't have to worry about what are we going to eat or are we going to eat, or you got a cold bologna sandwich coming up, or it was always something hot. It was something fresh. It was something that he wanted. I would, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner today or this week? If I go to the grocery store and he would say, I don't know, this, that, and the other, then I would say, okay, I'm gonna put that together. So he would have that also. He'd have his lunch. It wouldn't be no turkey sandwiches or nothing like that. I would cook enough that night so that he can have leftovers the next day or lunch the next day. So I, did both, where he had something nice and, good for lunch. The house was never dirty. I never asked him to pick up a broom. I never asked him to wash a dish. Never asked him to do any laundry. I don't even know if he knew how to use the washing machine. Yeah, I'm sure you could figure it out. The point was, all he did was put his clothes into the hamper and they got washed. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I personally don't have a problem with that. But then I know somebody saying, well, as long as the man, yes, as long as the man is worthy of that. You never want to do that for somebody who is considered a bum or is not giving as well, doing his job. See, I'm from the old school. I'm 51 years old, so I do believe in traditional roles. I just do, right? Because that's how I was raised. Perhaps if I was raised by a mom or dad that didn't do those things, then I would say, okay, well, in my household, my dad, he cleaned up. Now, listen, my dad was capable of cleaning, but my daddy ran a business. He left when the sun came up, and then he came home when the sun went down. So my daddy was not coming home, cleaning up and doing all that other stuff. That stuff was already taken care of. And so I personally don't have a problem with it. I loved seeing my man relaxed, watching TV or whatever he was doing, and eating. And I loved it. That was my pleasure. It was a sense of pride. I didn't see it as a sense of here we go again, right? So that's just me.
Well, and you got to think about a lot of women, like when a guy asks a woman what she brings home, what does she bring to the table? That would be something they bring to the table. Peace of mind. I mean, a man looks forward to that, like, okay, all I got to do is concentrate on going to work and providing. Her job is to keep me in strength. Nice food, nice atmosphere, whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. So ladies, that's something you can add to what you would bring to it. And then remember back in the old day, because we're about the old school, one of the ways to a man's heart is through his stomach. That was always a big saying back in the day, and it's still kind of true today. But unfortunately, I'm not ragging on women, whatever. But let's face it, the younger women, they do not cook like the older women do. I mean, so big difference there. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. You look at other cultures that have that traditional. You're from Los Angeles. How many of your neighbors you see the husband leave and the moms are at the home all the time, raising the kids, taking care of the house, whatever? What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. The Middle Easterners that are coming here, I go to the mall during the day because I'm retired. I go to the mall during the day. All I see is either white women or Middle European or Hispanic women in the malls with their kids, walking around the malls to get the baby fat off and just, doing whatever they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah, so I totally agree. As far as the younger women not cooking, that is probably because it's not being instilled in them. And I want to say this too, because I think a lot of times the message gets skewed in that you're only learning how to cook for a man. Now you learning how to cook for yourself, because when you cook your own food, you control your own food, then you control your own health, right? So that's obviously why you should learn to cook. I don't think it's wise to teach your daughters or even men. I think boys need to learn how to cook too, right? Because what if they don't have a woman? They'll have to learn how to cook. And then some days if you have a woman, like, baby, let me cook. Let me go on and make some out of all this recipe somewhere. Let me go and try it out. All right, boo, don't tear my kitchen up, but do what you got to do, right? But I just think that that's something that we need to continue. We start doing is teaching our daughters and our sons how to take care of themselves, and how to, if you get in a relationship, and see, that's the other thing too. And like we hear a lot of men talk about, oh, I want a traditional woman, but it's like, you're not a traditional man. Because to get a traditional woman, you got to be a traditional man. A lot of times men, when they say I want a traditional woman, it's like, well, you a modern man. You talk about modern women all the time, but you ain't nothing but a modern man, because a modern man wants the woman to pay half of everything. The modern man, want her to be out there working just as hard as him, but then want her to come home. So you want a modern woman in the streets, but then you want a traditional woman in the shades. Look at that. You want a traditional woman at home, but a modern woman out in the world, you want her to help you carry the load and all of that. And listen, I know we live in a society where it's hard to make for a man sometimes, especially in our community, which is not making as much money as everybody else, to maintain the house by himself. So I get it. She has to go out there and do that. But if that woman wants to be a traditional woman, I think that should be her choice. And that, listen, I'm going to go work, come home, cook, clean. But as far as that being mandated upon her from the man who is actually a modern man, I think that's a little bit skewed.
Totally agree. You can't ask for a traditional woman if you're not a traditional man. If you're going to ask a woman to be traditional, then you better be content to know that you have to bring home the whole loaf, not half the loaf, not any of this, not any of that. And that's where a lot of these arguments between men and women get confused, because everybody's coming from the perspective of whatever generation they come from, and they don't understand the traditional roles. You got some women that say, well, a man's supposed to provide. Okay, yes, I'm supposed to provide, but that doesn't mean I give you the money and you spend it all. I'm not saying it's a woman's fault, but some people think like that, and it goes both ways. But man, when you're talking about peace of mind, one of the things that I use when I vet a woman and I'm dating a woman is if she can cook. Because if she could cook, that saves a lot of money in the household for other things. So she wants to go on those vacations. Hey, if you're cooking 70% of the time, because I do believe you got to take your woman out, every now and then. Hey, there's your vacation money right there. But a lot of women, a lot of men, unfortunately, these modern young people. What's that you guys have down there? Steak 48 down there, or something like that. These expensive restaurants, and I'm like, how do you expect to sustain yourself if you expect to go to $300 a meal restaurants every night? How do you sustain yourself? And these are the things that have warped our young people's minds into saying, well, I deserve that. I'm this, I'm that. Okay, that's fine. It's like economics. I always tell young girls this about economics. You might think you're worth $1 million, but the economy says, the market says you're only worth $30. You know, do you see what I'm saying when you're doing that? And so we really got to get back into the aspect of reality of where we're at and where we want to go. If you want to be glamorous and stuff like that, I'm not sure being in a relationship with a man or a woman and you're a traditional person, there's going to be a lot of friction there. So you know, again, you have to be what it is that you want your mate to be. If not, you have no grounds to be complaining. She ain't doing this. She ain't doing that. Negro, you knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
Yeah, get equally yoked, as they say in the church. Get paired up with somebody, you know, who has the same ideologies you do, you know, to some degree. But there's a lot of people out there, you know, getting with somebody simply on looks or what the facade is, and then they get behind them, what's behind the booty, right? Then they're like, yeah, I don't know if I like you after all. But unfortunately, and I was having a conversation with a guy not too long ago, you know, he's lamenting how, oh, I don't want any children. He's an older guy. I don't want any children. I don't want to, you know, but I'm like, well, then don't put your little man where it don't belong. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, or settle down to a woman to where you want to have children with her. You know what I mean? It's not that hard, but unfortunately, a lot of people, men and women, they get caught up in the facade. Oh, I just want to feel good. Oh, it just feels so good dating and going out there. See, in the nation, they don't date, they court. They're like, we're not running around here dating all these people, spending all this money and this hopping here and there and everywhere with different people. Now we dating with a purpose. We courting. I want to see if I should continue spending time with you. But as I say, you know, especially at our age, we too old to be out there, you know, date hopping and, you know, looking for that warm and listen, warm and fuzzy feels good. Trust me, it really does. But if that's all you're looking for, that's all you're going to get. You're going to get warm and fuzzy. So find somebody that you're on the same page with and go do life. You know? All right. So here is the last video. I almost dread this video, but I'm gonna put it up there anyway.
Dating leftover women. Majority of women 35 and older appears to have matching tendencies that lead to irreconcilable differences. Smart men like Leonardo DiCaprio seems to understand this quite well. So, women who manage to hit 35 and never marry are leftover women. You've deviated every essence of femininity. When a man tells this woman, don't do that, she says, I do what I want. You're not my father. When a man says, stop, you will hurt yourself, she says, I can handle myself. When a man says, no thanks, I don't date single moms, she asks, do you not want kids? When a man says, let's have kids, she says, I don't want to have kids. When a man says, I gotta give my baby mother some money for my kids' school clothes, she says, no, child support is enough. When a man marries this woman with kids, she says, we are a package deal, and persuades you to adopt them. When a man says, I want you to fit in my system, she says, I already have a system. When a man is a man, she is not compatible. And that is the brutal truth.
Donovan?
What can I say on that? No, some of the stuff he said was correct. Some of the stuff he said was an opinion, or you know, if that's something that you know, maybe he lived his lived experience. But leftover women, that's a term I heard when I was living in Japan in the 80s. Okay, when I was in Japan in the 80s, that's a term that because of their culture is highly traditional and patriarchy, that's a term that goes back years. It might even go back thousands of years for all I know in the Asian culture. I don't know. But yes, in that culture, women deemed a certain age, 35 or whatever, were considered leftover women. So America always being behind these advanced civilizations, they finally get that term and they're like, oh, you know, and everybody's triggered and everybody's mad. But that was a term in Japan that was used, and it's been used for years. And that was a term for a woman, because women back then were in Japan were expected to be married by a certain age and go through all, to go through the whole procedure. Do I think that's a bad term? No, I don't think it's a bad term. It's just what is. So here in America, how that fits, you're going to have a lot of upset, pissed off women that will get triggered by that term. And they're, if that's what they want to do, so be it. But it's a term that's been around for a very, very long time in another culture. But what he said there, as in regards to men and women, see, I think all of this stuff really is structured to continue to have men and women fight each other while the government is robbing us deaf, dumb, and blind. Because as we're fighting each other, the most vulnerable of us are women, believe it or not. And the thing is, you guys are vulnerable because you guys are less paid, and it's a patriarchal society that we pseudo live in here in the United States that's going through a transition. So you have a rise of women being homeless right now and all these other things. But the funny thing is, though, you have a system that was put in place to help women not be in those type of situations. You have the social services system and stuff like that. If we go back, I don't know when social services really started. It really started in the 20th century, because a lot of these men were leaving their wives destitute and and without, the children are out there or whatever. There's a real rise in poverty in the United States. So yeah, that's a trigger thing for American women here. And I would just say, leftover women, if you're not married by 35, I guess in the United States, that's what you would be considered. I don't, if you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, you don't. I don't think women should pay any attention to it personally, but some do, and they just make it a whole mantra.
First of all, I want to say that individual is a Kevin Samuels wannabe knockoff. I just think that he is. We of course heard Kevin Samuel, who is no longer here. He talked about that, I guess it was about a year ago or so at this point, the 35 and over being considered a leftover woman. And he did talk about it being from the Japanese culture. That is what they called their women. But that particular gentleman was making a difference between dating a single mom who would tell a guy, I'm a package deal. We're a package deal, me and my children. But if he wanted to buy something extra for the children that he has outside of that relationship, then it's, you already paying child support. Basically you don't need to do anything else. And so I guess he was making the differences, but we've talked about this before in regards to women being 35 and older, being considered leftover. Well, I always wondered by who is this committee of who? The committee of they, who are making these rules and devaluing women after they turn 35, because again, we don't like to deal in absolutes. At least I don't like to. So I say all that to say, now I know plenty of women that's over 35 that's out there, doing what they doing on the dating scene and getting married. So it's just like, again, there's these labels put out there on certain people in society, whether it's men or women, these labels to do what? Like, what is the point of telling a woman, you're leftover? If you're 35 and older, you're leftover. What is she supposed to do with that information? Because I always wonder that. What is that woman supposed to do? Because per that terminology, you're 35 and you're washed up. What's she supposed to do? Go lay down in some dirt and die? What's she supposed to do? So I guess, that's really a rhetorical. So again, I don't know what to do with that. I just think it's a way to demonize women for not perhaps settling or being with somebody sooner. I don't know. There's a lot going on there, but it's like, what's she supposed to do? Like not be anymore? Just disappear? Poof, she's gone. You're 35. Oh, you hit 35. Go disappear into oblivion somewhere. There's no, like, what is she supposed to do? That's always kind of been the question for me, And what is there some committee somewhere saying, okay, she's 35, put her over here where no man is ever supposed to mess with her? Like, who has the power to even do anything to a woman who's 35 or older?
Oh, if you're asking the question, I really couldn't answer that question. All I can tell you is, like I said, in the context of it being from Japan and the high, strong patriarchy that still exists today, You can adopt stuff from other countries, which is what we do here in the United States, and we bring it here, and it might not play here. Like I said, you got women that get triggered by that, but that is a term from another country. So I don't see what the controversy is. I really don't.
Well, the controversy is, but again, as I say, the internet is not real. It's just people on the internet that are espousing these views. I mean, I guess it's supposed to generate controversy, but I don't see why it would, especially if you're like, well, I mean, what are you going to do about it if I turn 35? What power do you have over me? Do you have the phone number to every man and say, don't date her because she's 35 and over? Like, what power do you really have? You really have no power. All you're doing is bumping your gums, to be honest with you.
Right,
so.
Right. That's what I'm saying. When people give stuff like that energy, it doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of time because, okay, as in the manosphere, men love to adopt stuff that's in our favor. Oh, and in Africa, we're kings and we do this, and women are supposed to whatever, right? Women do the same thing, right? But you bring it here in America, okay, you got to understand, and a lot of people don't understand this when you're dealing with other countries. What's going on in Ukraine is white tribalism, okay? That's white tribal. That's white people fighting each other over ideology and whatever the deal is. In Africa, one of the main problems in Africa is tribalism. You might look like me, but you're from a different tribe and have different values and all this other stuff. Here in America, we're the only country where people come from all over the world and they come here and everybody's fighting for position, right? We fought a war for 20 years in Afghanistan because the women over there were just being treated. They can't even go to school. We have to go over there and save them. We walked out. Trillions of dollars spent. The girls are still not going to school over there. And matter of fact, a lot of them over the 20-year period have been removed from positions of power that they were put in previously. So that goes to show you America really doesn't give a damn about this manosphere, feminist stuff agenda, because it's all about the power. But my point is when people adopt these little things, so you have the black group here, we don't like that. So we're going to fight against it because it offends us. Oh, the Jews don't like it when you use derogatory terms against them. So we're going to fight that. And it's all a distraction. If it doesn't apply, just let it on by. Jesus Christ. It's not that serious.
Totally agree. All right. We're coming in I guess what you would call the home stretch or whatever. So we're going to play this game. I hope y'all doing all right and enjoying this conversation. Again, we do have ways to donate to the channel. If you like, become a member, like, subscribe, all the above. We love and appreciate everything. All right, Donovan, we are going to play our card game called Tonight's Conversation, Date Night Edition. I'm actually going to order another set of these. They have quite a few. And I'd like to start playing these on the live show. So when people come on, I'll pull out a card and then we each answer the question. So just kind of want to make the lives where, of course, now you guys know we are putting the link in the comment section for anybody who wants to come on and verbally voice their opinion. So I'd like to also implement these as well.
Yeah, okay. Please stop memorizing the cards, but go ahead.
Really? Memorizing the cards? Okay, here we go. Tell me about the last time you did something nice for yourself. You want me to go?
No, good question. It's been a while. Like I said, I really can't say what did I do nice for myself. I guess Christmas I bought a e-bike. That's probably it. That's probably the last time I did something nice for myself.
An e-bike is nice. The last time I did something nice for myself, I actually did a few things. Well, one, I got some braces. I got them on the bottom row. Each time I went to the dentist, they were trying to talk me out of getting braces. You don't need them. I'm like, yeah, I kind of do. I have one tooth and it's just really crazy. It's just one.
Real quick, they talked you out of it because of your age, correct?
No.
Because I hear a lot of times they'll say, well, you're 60 years old, so, what do you need, to fix your teeth for? But, okay, I was just wondering.
In fact, the time before last, the dentist was like, there's no way you're 50. There's no way. I'm like, yeah, way, I'm 50. But anyway, So yeah, they try to talk me out of it because it's like it's just one tooth, because the rest of my teeth they're straight, they're fine. So I, went on and got some braces on just the bottom row to fix my one tooth.
So let me ask you this on that one tooth. You're dealing with crowding underneath, right? It's just that tooth in the back. They couldn't have pulled the tooth out. That wouldn't have made a difference. No.
If they pulled the tooth out, that would leave a hole in my mouth. It's kind of significant hole right there. So no, they couldn't pull it. I don't have crowding, which is weird. It just, shifted for whatever reason. That tooth is very strong, which is why I also have to wear retainers when they get done, like most people do with braces. But I feel like I needed to do that because sometimes people say, oh, you need to fix your tooth and, dumb stuff like that. That doesn't bother me. I don't allow people to shape how I feel about myself. But I wanted to do it because it does look a lot better when I'm recording. I feel a lot more confident recording because, as y'all know, I open my mouth really wide. You know what I'm saying? If I talk like that, it probably wouldn't make a difference but I open my mouth. So I thought that was something nice to do for myself to help fix my appearance. And so I've also going to invest in me some cycling shoes rather. Not terribly expensive, but since I really like cycling, I want to get the proper equipment to help me further along that. I'm really seeing some results. So nothing major, but just, want to improve myself just a little bit. So that was something nice for myself. All right. From 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself as a potential spouse? Explain.
Well, I don't believe nobody's perfect. I rate myself as a 9. And the reason why I say 9 is the fact that being raised by a widowed mother, my mother pretty much taught me everything I need to know as a man in regards from a woman's perspective. So she used her father as an example, my own father as an example, raised me traditionally, which would mean that in the aspect of, not that I can do it all, but I can do it all. Not only can I provide as in going out there to work, I can also work within the house. If my wife needed something repaired or fixed or done, I can do it. I don't necessarily have to go and pay somebody necessarily. So, and there are some women that love when men work on stuff. They just get moist in the pants when they see a dude doing man stuff. And so that's why I give myself a 9, because if push comes to shove, I can really do everything I need to do in my expectation as a man.
I'm going to give myself a strong 7.5. And I say 7.5 because I think 7.5 is decent. I always believe there's room to improve. I love evolution. So that's why I say 7.5. But I say 7.5 because I am very resourceful as well. I'm one of those people. I'm a fixer. I'm going to figure it out, right? I'm going to take problems and I'm going to come up with an equation regardless of what it is. I'm going to try anyway, especially in a relationship. If my significant other is having some issues or whatever, I'm just able to troubleshoot mentally. I'm a good communicator. I would think that I am. Also, I told you about the other stuff as far as being domestically inclined in the household. As far as I would say, I don't do any usurping of the man. Like, don't tell me what to do. Shut up. Be quiet. I know what I don't be doing none of that type of stuff. I just always taught that is improper. To talk to a man in that way. So yeah, I guess I'm a 7.5. It was something else I was going to say in regards to me being a 7.5. I'm
You're
sure
having a lot of senior moments lately.
You know what it is a lot of times, because today I did go cycling and it's been rough. You know what I mean? It's been, yeah. So I have like brain fog a lot because I'm still trying to acclimate to, my body coming back together. So yes, I have a lot of what you call, I guess, senior moments. But yeah, I think I'm a 7.5 because, like I said, there's room to evolve. And I would definitely say that any man that has been with me will say that they were pretty damn lucky to be with me. And that's not me saying I'm all that. But it's just the truth, right? And I always tell them, you probably have a hard time finding another woman like me. You just, you know what I mean? You are, because I have the ability to say, okay, honey, all right. You know, if that's what you think, okay, well, how do you feel about this? It ain't, well, this is what we doing, because I said this is how it's going. Never. All right, honey. Even if I don't think it's a good idea, it's like, okay, all right. You know what I mean? But I would say this too, as I always say, a lot of times people, men, I think they would have an issue with me and have an issue with me because I do talk a lot, but not a lot in like I'm just not saying nothing. Like I said, I absorb a lot of knowledge and information, and so I like to share. I like to talk, and you know, some men aren't into that. They're just into the giggling and wiggling and jiggling. That's I can do all that too, but I just feel like I need to have something to say, type of thing. So I don't know, 7.5, maybe, give or take. All right. Last question. How important is alone time for you? Could you be in a relationship with someone who is the complete opposite of you when it comes to this?
Yes, alone time for me is important because, let's face it, you're not always going to be on the same page as your significant other or a person. You might have a hobby that is totally detrimental to what that other person wants to do, right? So I alone time is very important for me, and I would put it up there. But the other person would have to understand that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now, as a former pilot, I think I took that to the extreme. You would think, well, I didn't do it, but my job took it to the extreme to where you know what you're getting into when you met me. I'm going to be gone from home a lot, but the thing is, when the person is there every day, I'm not saying, some people just aren't built like that where the person's just there. Some people are. There's a lot of people that want to be around their person, whatever. But sometimes when that person's gone, it keeps the relationship spicy because it's like, well, I'm not with him a lot of times. And so my story is this. Even though I'd be gone long, when I would come back, it was fun. It wasn't just a sexual thing, like, hey, let's go to the movies. I'm trying to do everything that I would have done if I had stayed the whole time. So for me, alone time is very important because sometimes you need that alone time away to think things out and sort things out and look at where you're at and where you're going to go.
Absolutely. It reminds me of a song, Chicago. Everybody needs a holiday, some time away from the one you love. So I totally agree with that. Alone time to me could even be 5 minutes, where you just sitting with yourself and, you just kind of hanging out with yourself. You're in your own thoughts, you're meditating. I always like to call it contemplating the meaning of life. My niece, when I was in California, she would come into my room a lot. And oftentimes I wouldn't have any radio on. I wouldn't have any TV, the computer. And I'd just be sitting there. And she's like, it's so sad in here. You're not doing anything. You're not watching anything. You're not listening. It's, you're just here. I'm sad. I'm like, why are you sad? I said, has it ever dawned on you that I'm quieting my mind or I am enjoying the silence, the Depeche Mode style, I'm enjoying the silence. I'm just here. And I'm in my own brain because especially with the inception of the internet, we don't get a chance to be in our own brain. And that's why I said I'm really trying to work on being away from my phone as much because when you're on social media, you're actually in somebody else's brain. You're actually inculcating the thoughts and words and things of everybody else. And when you put your phone down, you say, okay, now it's just me and me. What do you think? How do you feel today? What's on your mind? I'm talking about having a conversation with yourself. So alone time does afford you that. And we're supposed to get into our own psyche and heart and all of that often, but we don't get a chance to do that. And so when we're in a relationship, we are under the ideology that we got to be snug as a bug in a rug all together every time. Wherever you go, I'm going to go. You in the bathroom, I'm in the bathroom. No. Do you? If it's a 5 minute, because there's back in Good Housekeeping magazine back in the 50s, they said, and I agree with everything on the list. It's very antiquated, some people would say. But one of the things it says is, ladies, when your man gets off work Don't inundate him with, oh, the washing machine, all the kids, oh, Betty Sue, all this. All right, honey, give me a briefcase. Here's your slippers and a drink. You know, you're supposed to meet your man at the door with that. That's some foxy shit right there. Back in the day, you know.
Yeah, turn him into an alcoholic. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, a little cocktail here, honey. Here's your old fashioned. Go ahead and have a seat. Here's the paper. You know, dudes nowadays don't know about no newspaper. But anyway, here's your remote control, whatever the case. You know, and it says not to inundate him. Let him have like 30 minutes. 30 minutes to decompress in his chair is easy. Recliner or what, lazy boy, whatever it is. Let him decompress, get the wilds of the day off of him. And then once he's done all that, he can say, okay, honey, how was your day? That's not to say he don't care about you. It's just that, damn, I've been out here with Barney Rubble and them, you know, for 10 hours, you doing what I'm doing. And then I need a line of demarcation from the drive home to the time that I sit in an easy chair and I just veg out, right? So I think that is valuable. And I also think it's valuable for the woman to be able to say, okay, honey, you know what? Now that you've decompressed and you've eaten and all of that, you know, I'm going to go off for a walk, or I'm just going to sit and, you know, just kind of be one because I've been out in the house all day chasing the kids or whatever it is I was doing. So I need that me time. I think me time is healthy because after a while you end up strangling each other to death, I would think. So that's my opinion on that.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Sure. So thank you guys for being here so much. We love and appreciate you. Tomorrow we'll be back with Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. We are going to kind of he likes the relationship type of conversations as well. So again, we are going to invite people on to speak your mind about whatever it is we're going to talk about. I actually love that format because we get to hear and see from the audience. So Donovan, you're also welcome to come on Wednesdays if you want. But in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. Of course, we have ways to donate and help the channel. Become a member, like, subscribe, and all the above. And to my members, thank you so much. We love and appreciate you. Be back tomorrow, 5:00 p.m. with Walter. See y'all later. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.